Today, we're diving into the future of warfare, and it's framed as a real clash of ideas. You've got a tech visionary with an urgent, almost desperate warning on one side, and on the other, a powerful military institution with a very methodical plan. We're stepping right into the high-stakes world of AI on the battlefield. It all really kicks off with this incredibly stark prediction from Elon Musk. He's not hedging his bets here, not at all. He's basically saying the next major war won't be fought with tanks or battleships like in the old days, but with autonomous drones. And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi idea. Musk is pointing to what's happening right now in Ukraine, which is already in so many ways a drone war. We're seeing AI being used for everything from surveillance to these incredibly coordinated attacks. The future he's warning us about, it's not coming, it's already here. So this gets us to the absolute heart of Musk's critique. He argues that nations, well, they're almost always geared up to fight the last war, not the next one. And in an age where technology is changing exponentially, that is a really, really dangerous place to be. This slide just visualizes Musk's argument perfectly. On the left, you've got the F-35 fighter jet, a multi-billion-dollar program that Musk flat out calls obsolete. And on the right, you have his vision for the future, massive swarms of cheap, AI-controlled drones that can just overwhelm the battlefield. And yeah, he really doesn't mince words, does he? He's arguing that in an age of drone swarms, putting a human pilot in a plane like the F-35 isn't just inefficient, it's dangerously outdated. His big concern is that these pilots are being put in harm's way for no good reason against a totally new kind of threat. So the really crucial point here, and what this table shows us, is that it's not that the US lacks technology. That's a clear strength. The weakness, as Musk puts it, is a production rate issue. The US is great at building a few highly advanced, super expensive units, but it just doesn't have the domestic supply chain to churn out drones at the massive scale and low cost that you need for a modern war. So all of this really boils down to one critical question. With this focus on expensive, manned systems and a clear weakness in mass production, is the US military looking backward instead of forward? But this is where the story takes a really interesting turn. Because while tech visionaries are out there sounding the alarm, the military, well, they're not deaf. In fact, the US Marine Corps has been quietly drafting its own highly detailed blueprint for this exact new era. And here it is. This is the official response. It's a comprehensive plan to transform the Marine Corps into a truly AI-enabled force by the year 2030. This isn't just some knee-jerk reaction. It's a deliberate, forward-looking strategy. And the core purpose here is fascinating. It's not about replacing humans. The goal is to use AI to enhance decision-making at the tactical edge. Basically, what that means is giving individual Marines on the ground better information so they can make faster, smarter decisions when it matters most. So the plan is built around these 5 key pillars. First, making sure AI actually solves real problems. Second, building a workforce that knows how to use it. Third, deploying it at scale. Fourth, governing it responsibly. And finally, partnering with industry and academia to stay on the cutting edge. Okay, but here's maybe the most surprising part of the whole plan. It actually acknowledges that the biggest obstacle to getting AI implemented might not be an enemy overseas, but an enemy right at home, its own bureaucracy. What's just remarkable is how self-aware this plan is. It explicitly calls out its own roadblocks, like the authority to operate, or ATO process. That's the notoriously slow, bureaucratic approval system for any new tech. It also points to fragmented data in a culture that just isn't built for modern software development. The Marine Corps is basically admitting its own old systems are a major hurdle. The plan also comes right out and says that data is a fundamental problem. It says its own current data climate will prove a challenge. I mean, without clean, accessible, well-managed data, you just can't build effective AI. It's kind of like trying to build a supercar, but you're pouring dirty fuel in the tank. It's just not going to work. So the crucial point is this. The Marine Corps knows that its old rulebooks are getting in the way. The plan itself uses this incredible phrase, legacy governance frameworks that stifle innovation. They're not just trying to build new tech. They're trying to reform the very system that approves it. But technology is only half the equation, right? The plan also focuses heavily on the human side of things, forging a new kind of soldier who can actually effectively wield these powerful new tools. So the plan recognizes that an AI-ready force isn't just a one-size-fits-all thing. It actually breaks down the personnel needs into 3 distinct and absolutely critical groups. And this chart breaks it down perfectly. First, you have the AI users. That's going to be the vast majority of Marines who just need to know how to use these systems effectively in the field. Then, you've got the AI builders. This is a specialized group that actually creates the AI solutions. And finally, and this is key, you have leadership, who has to understand the tech well enough to make those critical, high-stakes decisions on how and when to use it. Now, to actually build this new kind of workforce, the plan outlines some really concrete actions. Things like establishing digital transformation teams to help units adopt new tech, creating a whole new center for digital transformation, expanding partnerships, and building formal training pipelines to develop these skills right from the ground up. So we have Musk's urgent warning, and we have the Marine Corps' detailed, methodical plan. But this brings us to the final, critical tension in this whole story, the race against time. This slide, I think, captures the entire dilemma perfectly. See that timeline at the bottom? That's the military's linear, steady, 5-year plan. But look at that curve laid over the top. That's the reality of AI development, a steep, exponential climb. The core challenge is that the technology is advancing far, far faster than any 5-year plan can possibly anticipate. And you gotta give them credit. The plan itself shows this stunning awareness of the problem. It states directly, what is cutting edge today will be legacy tomorrow. They know. They know they're aiming at a target that's accelerating away from them. Which leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? In a world of explosive, unpredictable technological growth, can a deliberate, bureaucratic 5-year plan possibly keep pace? Or is the future just going to arrive long before the plan is ever complete?